And I'm told the entire production team say they dedicate this song to me on my glorious birthday. I shared this day, I'm told, with Benny Blanco, an actor and television personality. Also with you, Benedicta Ofebia Afua. If it's your birthday as well today, enjoy it. I've been joined by a man who's a former member of parliament for Cape Coast South. He hopes, he is still a member of parliament for Cape Coast South, forgive me, and he wants to be president. Kwaku Ricketts-Hagan. Chief, welcome.
Thank you.
Good to have you. You look good.
Pleasure.
How's the campaign going?
Not bad.
Not bad.
Yes.
So far, so good?
So far, so good, yes.
What's the response been?
Well, it's been good. There is a silent majority out there who are not being heard. And we are trying to make sure they are heard.
The last time we heard about silent majority was when the NDC was telling the MPP there was a silent majority in 2016, and they lost woefully. Do you stick by the silent majority tag?
Well, there is always a silent majority. Whether they win or lose is also a different thing. It's like parliament.
Is yours losing or winning?
I hope we win. I hope that we win the argument. I hope that people will see some reasoning in what we are trying to say. I hope that people are not going to be thinking about their selfish interests. And for that matter, throw out every reasoning out of the window. There are things that need to be fixed, and we need to fix them.
Okay.
We can't bury our head in the sand and think that when we take it out, our problems will go away.
Let's look at your party, for example. After the 2016 election loss, there's a Kwesi Botwe committee. The report came out. It made some recommendations, out of which the party has reorganized, re-registered. Unity walks, and then what?
Well, it continues.
Is that enough?
It's not. No, it's not an event. You know, it's basically a number of things that we need to be doing right until the day of the 20 election. So it's not just one.
What do you propose the party does?
Well, we do what we are doing at the moment in terms of conducting all the necessary elections to make sure that we have the new leadership or whoever emerges as the new leader. We've been doing this from branch, constituency, region. We completed just over the weekend. We are now going to the national, and then hopefully the flag bearership thing will follow. Once we finish with that, then we have a leader. It is easier to form policies or whatever we are going to do in 2020 around a leader. Many a times I hear they say, oh, if the party is healed, it doesn't matter who you put on top. Okay. And then the party will win an election.
You don't share that opinion?
I don't share that opinion.
What opinion do you share?
Well, you need the party to be strong, and you need a leader who is also strong, who has a vision. The leader must have a vision. The leader must have policies that will be shaped by the rest of the party. The leader must believe in the principles and values of the party that he or she is leading. So it's not just a matter of put the machinery or get the car ready and put a driver in it and the car will drive.
But all of you candidates who have come up, from President John Mahama to Professor Labi to Sylvester Mensah to your good self to Alban Bagbin to others who will come, you all believe in the principles of the party, don't you?
Well, we believe in the principles of the party. What I am saying is that we derailed of those principles and values, and we need to get back on track.
You served under President Mahama. You saw him derail. You didn't tell him.
Well, I mean, I don't want to be sitting here talking about what I told President Mahama or did not tell him or what I told him.
But people will blame you.
Well, as for the blame, you cannot run away from it. You served in the government and you must take your share of the responsibility. That is not to say that, again, we should sit in a corner.
If he derailed and you were in the team that helped him to derail, so to speak, for want of a better expression, do you think you deserve a chance to lead? Because people will say, then you're coming to derail.
Well, if that is the argument, then nobody in the NDC deserves a chance. Because we as a party collectively derailed. So if you are saying that I was part of the team that derailed, then who in the team qualifies to run as a candidate for the party? You tell me. Well, does that make you a better qualified candidate? Well, because I have a better program. I have a better vision.
What is your vision?
Well, my vision is to make sure that we get a Ghana that is better than we have today. We stop experimenting with our education system and create a system that is sustainable, that is going to give our children a better chance in the global world that we live in. Not experimenting with whether it should be 3 years or 4 years or whether it should be track system or it should be shift system and all that, which we've been experimenting for some time now.
You're not happy with what the government is doing?
Well, does this look like something that is going to work for you? We live in a competitive world. We live in a global world. You need to run a system that is in consonant with what is happening in the rest of the world. You cannot educate your children in isolation to have certain qualifications in a system that cannot hold water in any international competition. And I believe that the system we are going on at the moment, we are just heading towards a disaster.
The Deputy Minister for Education, Dr. Educhum, thinks otherwise. He's been an educationist, and he says, look, he's bringing that experience to bear on this one. Well, you still stand by your argument?
Well, you don't need an educationist to tell you that the system that is being put in place at the moment is going to end up just being abysmal. I mean, it is clear. You can see it. The kind of track. I mean, when I think of the track system they are talking about, it looks like the British train system, where you have different colors of trains running. Okay. You need a better education system. Look, a lot of the things that, a lot of a system that we had in the past was not actually a bad system. But over the years, we have not been able to sustain this system going forward and deal with the growth that eventually will happen. The population of Ghana today is not going to be the population in 20 years' time. Therefore, our education, our getting jobs for our people, and pretty much every facet of the economy should be planned in such a way that we'll be able to accommodate the population growth and the changes that will happen in the future.
That's one of your visions. What's the other? Give me top three. Give me two more.
Well, the other is health. We need a sustainable health system, a system that is based on your clinical need, not on your ability to pay.
Your government promised a one-time premium. It never happened. It never saw the light of day for 8 years. Well, why should we trust you to give us a vision?
To be honest with you, you know, as somebody who has worked as a fund manager and as a banker in the past, I was not really convinced that, you know, a one premium thing will work out.
You didn't speak up when it was said.
I did. In fact, when that thing came up, I wasn't even in government. I mean, I didn't serve in this started in the Moses government.
Exactly.
I was not even in politics.
But you didn't speak up.
It
was your party.
I did talk about it.
And what was the response? You didn't press on.
When you are in government, okay, depending on which position you occupy, you and you can be. I wasn't a cabinet minister to start off with, even though I ended up being a regional minister. You can, if you're a deputy minister, you can give your ideas, you know, to your minister, who is the immediate person that you see on a day-to-day basis. Occasionally, you may have access to the president and you share your views with the president. When you become a regional minister, yes, maybe you get much closer to the president. You're still not a cabinet minister. You show your ideas. At the end of the day, decisions are taken collectively. And the buck stops with the president, who will finally say that, okay, based on this collective decision, this is what we are going to do. If we all decide that this is what we are going to do, you cannot say that this is not what I believe.
Did President Mills fail in that agenda?
Well, as you said, it never saw the, you know, the
so that's a failure? Is that what you're saying?
It didn't happen, but I didn't think that just one payment or one premium will be able to fix our health problem going forward.
Did he fail? Did President Mills fail? In his quest to make a one-term premium, did he fail?
It didn't happen, so you cannot talk about it as a success. It just didn't happen in the first place. What I'm saying is that I have a different view, and I have a different plan on how I can sustain the health system and make it a better system. What's your plan?
Let me hear this plan.
That we have today. There's not going to be this, you know, one-off payment, you know, in the as it has been suggested. There should be some contribution coming from those who can afford to pay. Okay? And those who cannot afford to pay should not be penalized when they are ill because they don't have the ability to pay. Nobody should be lying in the hospital waiting for a relative to go and bring money before they perform an operation on them. That is what I said to you, that the system that I intend to build will be based on people's clinical need. Not on their ability to pay.
The Finance Committee of Parliament sits in camera to delve into the issues of the collapsed banks. You worked at the Ministry of Finance. What do you make? I mean, Parliament sitting in camera for a matter sensitive as this that impacts so many lives, like jobs have been lost. What do you think?
I mean, you know, I believe that my colleagues of Parliament, you know, took this decision based on, you know, what you know, I'm not privy to the information as to.
Do you think Parliament should sit in camera? When their bribery allegations came up, they did it publicly.
Well, I can tell you my opinion, frankly.
What is your opinion?
My opinion is that I disagree.
That they should sit in camera.
I believe that this should be made available to the public.
Okay.
At the end of the day, it's the taxpayers' money that is used in bailing these banks out. So why can't we hear them to tell us why they messed up our banks and all that for us, and which we are paying for? We are entitled to know. I mean, the parliament is not a court.
Right.
It's just for information gathering, for decision making. And I think the public should be in on this. But I'm sure that there's some wisdom that went into this. As I said, I need to speak to my colleagues. I have not been...
The regional elections are over.
Yeah.
Now we're going for the national elections.
Yeah.
What trend did you see in the regional elections?
Well, it clearly, tells us that, people want to change. People believe that those who were in those positions, have more or less served their purpose in terms of being able to do what
Did
they
the
can
previous
do.
executive fail the party?
Well, we all failed. And that is why we've gone back to
But
the
there were
drawing
people
board.
who were leading. Did they fail?
Well, obviously, the bucks, as they say, I think Truman or something who said that the buck stops with...
Should Asi Dunketia go?
Well,
Kofi Adams, should he go?
I am not to make that...
Anita D'Soso, should he go? If you get into the ballot box, would you take that decision?
Well, my single vote may or may not make a difference. But at the end of the day, the people will speak. Just as they've spoken at the branch election, constituency election, regional election, they surely will speak in the national
What
election.
are your chances
So
against Spio Gabra, Joshua Labi, John Mahama, Alban Bagbin? What are your chances against them?
Well,
Agbemava.
They are all, everybody is beatable.
Okay.
Okay? Everybody is beatable. The most important thing, when people talk about experience or talk about heavyweight names and all that, for me, those things don't mean much. It's the most important to look. We have had leaders in this country who were young,
Okay.
and people have seen them to be disastrous. We have had leaders in this country who are old. We have one in office at the moment. Again, people have seen them to be disastrous. We have people
Do
who
you find the president disastrous?
Absolutely. I mean, what is going on in this country? Does it look like a pretty country to you? I mean, what is working here in this country? They are not sure what they are doing. They talk about free education. They are making a mess of it. They talk about one district, one factory. And what is the sense in that? Why would anyone want to build a factory in each district? Does it make sense? Factories are built based on what we want to do. Ghana should become a manufacturing
Advise
economy.
the president. What would you tell
Well,
him?
my advice to the president is that, yes, Ghana needs to become a manufacturing economy. Ghana needs to add value to the commodities that we are endowed with or what we grow here. And factories should be built near where these raw materials are, where we can abundantly get them.
Right.
It doesn't need to be in every district. And there's nothing wrong with somebody moving from one district to the other to work. What will you be producing?
You have not told me what your chances are. Are you winning? Are you losing?
Well, we go into an election to win. As I said,
By what margin?
Well, I cannot give you margins here. You see,
You have not done your projections.
no, it's not important for you to sit down and self-glorify yourself that I'm going to this election.
The others
to
are
win.
doing it. Why can't you do it?
Well, I don't believe in that.
Okay.
So, I mean, they're entitled to what they want. If they can say they will win by 80% or 90%, they say the sweetness of the pudding is always in the eating.
Now, my final question to you. Your former boss, Mr. Setekpe, I spoke with him last week.
Yeah.
He says on the collapse of the banks, he takes responsibility, the party takes responsibility, but can't be blamed. Do you share in his opinion?
I don't.
Why?
I don't. Because I don't actually think that the NDC government did anything. Don't forget that the central bank is independent.
Were you responsible?
No.
Are you blamable?
The central bank is independent.
Okay.
It doesn't matter which appointed the governor of the bank or the personalities who work there. It is supposed to be an independent, take independent
But in an election year, you went for a levy to
on-
salvage jobs. In
Well,
an election year,
yeah.
you went for a levy to salvage jobs on the same particular matter. So, do you take responsibility?
Well,
do you take the blame like your boss?
No, you are looking at two different. You are looking at two different things. You see, all these things like Osler and all those things that we were trying to do, which got completed by these people. Part of it was to actually to be able to make these banks who had lent money to these institutions to be liquid again, so that they don't find themselves in the situation that we are in. So something was done about it. What these guys did is to sit down and actually watch these banks collapse, because it is a failure of the central bank, and we must put the blame where the blame
So
is.
while your boss feels responsible, you don't feel responsible about it.
Well, I haven't listened to my former boss,
Okay.
so I don't know exactly in which context he was
I asked him
saying.
that, look, the collapse of these 5 banks, some of the investigation was done under him. The rot was found out by him. And I asked him, does he take the blame? Some say he's blamable. He says, feels responsible, but he won't take the blame.
Well,
I'm asking, do you stand with him? Do you stand with him?
I think that obviously by being part of a government and being the finance minister, he felt that, you know, from
you feel same?
From a fiscal standpoint, because you got to look at it.
Do you feel same?
I don't feel same.
Yeah.
Because the issues are fiscal and monetary issues.
Thank you very much.
The fiscal is the government, and the monetary is the central bank.
Okay.
The central bank failed awfully in their responsibility, basically in issuing license, in policing, and in providing an oversight.
And it was under your watch.
Well, not all of it happened on our watch. The monies that was given to Beige and others were not given by
Ricketts-Hagan,
the NDC.
thank you very much. I wish you all the best. I wish you all the best.